me more than just about anything in the world is to see the amount of aid that has been funneled into Southern Africa. Forget Southern Africa, let's look at South Africa. In the last 15 years since our independence, the amount of charitable donations invested in South Africa just does not lead to the impact it should have. It's totally unacceptable. In our field, there's this concept of going to scale. But the way our field defines scale is about reaching more and more children. It's about geographical expansion. You see, what we're seeing is organizations moving throughout Southern Africa, South Africa, taking a child who's been raped or orphaned and giving them a cup of soup, a computer maybe, and then we ask why these kids aren't studying at Harvard. We're taking shipping containers and converting them into classrooms, and we want to know why we're not producing global leaders. This is where we distinguished ourselves. This is what Ubuntu is about. You see, in 1999, we drew a 7-kilometer radius around our offices in Sweden Township. And we have 400,000 people in this community. 1 in 4 of our girls are abused by the age of 18. We have a 40% HIV rate, 80% unemployment. We can work our whole lives in this community, it's still not doing enough. I've learned anything in 10 years is that it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of human resources to change a child's life. And that's really what Ubuntu is about. It's not about touching a child, it's about changing a child's life. We started with one goal, and that goal has not changed. We started with the goal of taking the most vulnerable children we could find, children who are orphaned, who are abused, and helping them access higher education or employment. This past January, we just took our 3rd class, 100 students, and put them into university on full scholarships. Of these students were child-headed households, meaning there were no parents left. 14 of the girls had been raped, but had dealt with their trauma through our programs and had moved on in their lives. This is who we're here to celebrate tonight, these children, these 100 children, the 24,000 children who both Kevin and Daniel talked about that are enrolled in our program, the over 5,000 donors who have supported us since our inception in 1999. Sorry, it's been a long 10 years. Ubuntu is about going deeper into one community. And what we've discovered over the last 10 years is that we can intervene in a child's life, create stability around this child through education and health initiatives, help these children move on to higher education. In 1999, I held a raffle on my university campus. We raised $400 US. Took this money, bought some office supplies, and started writing letters to people. I started getting meetings, and one meeting after another, I was told, no. That's very nice, this is Jake's Africa project. What are you really going to do with your life? But what kept me going back then is seriously what's kept me going for the last 10 years and what's going to keep us going into the future. It's an honest belief that we can change these kids' lives, that we can help South Africa's children really realize their potential. And today, it's not just my belief. We can prove it. We've got a model that's not just effective, it's cost efficient, it's working. And that's what tonight's about, it's working. When I speak, I try to share a few stories, and I'm sure some of you have heard these stories because they're the stories that make up who we are, it's our DNA. In 1994, I was 17 years old and found myself in the middle of Alexandria Township outside of Soweto, outside of Sandton in Johannesburg, South Africa. I was there, part of a delegation of students to observe South Africa's transition into democracy. And I met a woman. She'd been waiting in line for 5 days to vote. This woman was old, she was big. I couldn't imagine this woman standing for 5 days. And I said to her, "You've been waiting 5 days?" And she said, "No, boy, I've waited 85 years. And that was the day I decided I wanted to be involved with what they were calling the New South Africa. I came to university in the States here, and I found myself back in South Africa in 1997. I went to work for an organization in Cape Town, and it was a complete scam. I left after a day, got on a train, and made my way up the eastern Cape of South Africa. Got off the train, I met a school teacher who invited me into the townships. Now the townships, as most of you realize, they're segregated. This was 1997. I was a white man. I was a symbol of everything wrong in the country. And I was brought into this town, this little shebeen, which is a tavern. It was a June night, it rained in the Easter Cape, it was cold, and I walked in, and the place went silent out of a movie. I was the first white guy ever to be there. I was 20 years younger than everyone else. And this man sits me down next to Banks, my co-founder, is here somewhere tonight. And he says, in Glosa, he says, I'm sick of speaking English, talk to this young American. And Banks and I hit it off, we had a few beers, and that night I moved into his house and started working in the school that he taught in. And over those 6 months, we saw everything wrong with international development. We saw money being dumped in, mostly from the European Union at the time, but no one asking our community what was needed. And we said we would start an organization. And we said we would hire people locally, that we would truly create a community institution that could respond to the community's needs. And that's what we've done, and that's what I'm most proud of. Banks, it has been absolutely an honor to walk this journey with you, and I know we've still got a long way to go. We're as flawed as the next group, but every day we're getting better. As you walked in tonight, you saw renderings of this incredible complex. This is called the Ubuntu Center. This center, we broke ground almost 2 years ago, and we're finishing within the next 6 months. This center is very important to me because it embodies everything we believe in at Ubuntu Education Fund. It's not a new project, it's just an extension of what we do. But I was giving a talk on the Upper West Side about 2 months ago, and a woman was really questioning me hard. Why do you spend $6 million US? You could use that money, you could spend it better feeding a whole city, you could do this. And I said, if I built this at your child's school, you'd applaud me. And until we shift our mindset and really believe that the child, the poor black African child, deserves that state-of-the-art education, deserves great access to health centers, we're never going to make a difference. And that's what that center symbolizes so much to us, is that you don't have to be born in Manhattan or London. You can be born in Sweetacre Township, and you can have a chance. Over the last 10 years, I've seen more suffering. I've buried more friends. Our colleagues have died of AIDS. We've seen children suffer unnecessarily. But every step of the way, every day I'm inspired. I mean, what inspires me is our children who've made it. I'm going to tell a couple stories. There's Sipo. Sipo was born in New Brighton Township. He lives in a shack with 8 other family members. Today, Sipo is studying law at University of Cape Town. I want to tell a story about Nomundo. When we met her, her mother was dying of HIV. And what we've learned is the key to intervening with a child, you take a child, but then you go to the home. You've got to keep the mother alive. My generation has been wiped out by HIV. Today, we have 1,435 mothers under the age of 35 on HIV drugs. These drugs can keep a mother alive to help raise that child. You see, it's about one service doesn't do it, a cup of soup, a computer class, an after-school program, that's not enough. We need to go deeper into these kids' lives, and that's what Ubuntu's about. We have 80 staff members who work for Ubuntu full-time, and 6 of them actually flew over tonight. And I want you to take a chance to go introduce yourself and meet them, because they are what keep me going. They're the greatest inspiration. You read about child rape, you read about this stuff, but you don't understand. There's one thing to read about, the one thing to deal with it every day. And I would love some of our staff to just stand up who are here. Please give them a... It won't be much longer. This gala, it's not a gala, it's a celebration. We don't do these things annually, as you all know. But tonight's a celebration, and let's enjoy ourselves. It's going to be a wonderful night, and let's celebrate. Thank you.